All right, so here we have Michelle and Sydney. I'm super excited for this interview. You definitely want to pay attention to this interview. They have an incredible story. They started with us about 2 years ago. Their highest day in sales has been, or their highest month in sales has been $19,000 in a month. They're consistently hitting over $100,000 per month. Their highest day was a $9,000 day, and they're absolutely crushing it. I don't want to go too into their story for them, so I'm going to kind of have them touch on everything. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I know you're busy entrepreneurs. How's it going?
Awesome. It's been a whirlwind and a really fun journey, to say the least, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about that journey. What were you doing prior to starting your business? And did you have experience? What was that experience like in e-commerce, or are you just brand new? If you can kind of touch on that for us.
We were both completely brand new to the idea. I kind of started a thrifting type deal in college. And then once I graduated college, my mom was kind of like, well, let's see what more we could do with just e-commerce in general. So that's when we signed on with you guys, and we learned so much that way. But every single day, it's like you think you have it all figured out, and then you don't. Like every single day, you're constantly learning, and there's something every day that I learn. And I think the same goes for her as well. She's more of like the business girl. I'm more of the creative girl, and we make a pretty good team. So without her, I don't think either one of us would be here. So
that's awesome. So you guys have had some pretty serious months. Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, what was it like when you had your first 6-figure month? What are your sales like so far? Where do you see this thing going in the future?
Well, gosh, that's a loaded question, I feel like, in a lot of different ways, because it's been crazy. And especially when we hit our first, 6-figure month, I felt like I think we've talked about this before. Like I guess it's not you're expecting it, but when you work so hard and you feel like it's kind of building gradually, it definitely didn't happen overnight. It was just kind of like a finally rather than a like hooray kind of thing. But I think in the future, I see it, as limitless potential. And we're doing some things with Amazon, and we're kind of doing these collaborations that we never really thought was possible. So we really just have, like I said, the future is just bright in our eyes. So we'll just keep on working and keep on learning, and hopefully, it just keeps excelling.
And one thing is that you can't, if something doesn't work, figure it out. Mm-hmm. Be a problem solver. Just figure out, well, that didn't go as planned, so let's try this.
Something else. Yeah.
You can't get, too frustrated or too sidetracked. You have to really be paying attention. But it was great to have our first 6-figure, believe it, but we had to get caught up, and we had to,
it was crazy.
Shift gears some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So how long, and the reason I ask this is because a lot of times I notice people in their e-commerce journey, they will, after a couple months of not seeing sales or not seeing $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 per month, they give up. They throw in the towel and they say, this isn't for me. So what were the beginning stages like that? Did you just go from 0 to 100K a month right away? Did it take some time? Like, what did that journey look like?
No, it took some time, but when we were doing $200 or $300 a day, well, that was better than, nothing. And then when we got to, I remember we got our first 4,000. Mm-hmm. That was the crazy. First, that was, so it just sort of, would build like that. So every milestone was great. You celebrate, and we figure out what worked and capitalize on that, and what didn't, change it, figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool. And so are you guys, I know you mentioned before that you guys do this full time. So did you have an experience where you quit your job? Like, did you fully quit the job to work on the business? And what was that like? Because I know for me, the day I quit my job to be an entrepreneur, I was like, this is literally the best day of my life. So, and I interviewed another eCom babe last week who just quit her job at Target, and that was a pretty exciting day for her. So do you have something that you can relate to on that topic?
Well, for Sydney, she was graduating from college. So that was, she kind of came into it from college, which was, really awesome. But for me, at first I couldn't quit my job, yeah.
I had to convince her.
I always believed in her, definitely. But it was a fun time to be able to do it, but I couldn't do it at first. And I really felt like if we're going to grow this the way we want to, then we have to have everybody on board.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that a lot of people getting into e-commerce or just even e-com babes, they have a lot of limiting beliefs and they doubt themselves. There's a lot of fear, and unfortunately it actually turns a lot of people away. They just self-sabotage their success. And so did you have anything like that happen to you, or at any point you doubted this, or maybe you thought this isn't for me, or maybe it was like an unsupportive friend or unsupportive coworker or neighbor or someone that just made you kind of feel like crap about this process?
I'll tell you this, when I started eCom Babes, I did the vision boards. We did the vision boards. Then we talk about looking back about how we did one, then we did another one, and how every goal on there we achieved.
Yeah.
You know, so manifesting the, you know, the good and really having a good, healthy, positive mindset. I mean, what you teach in that is really important. And and if you got to get through those steps, and you have to realize that you can make this happen. And so that was funny how we talked about it. Our vision boards,
but I think too, it's super important to realize that not every single day is going to go as planned. And like I said, when we first started this interview, I think every single day we learn something that we didn't the day before. Every day I feel like that, you know. And of course there's days of doubt, you know, it's normal to, you know, get in your head a lot about, well, what does this person think? Or what does this family member think? Or, you know, it's new, you know, but it is the future, you know, eCom babes and starting your own business and being online and having the flexibility of, you know, for your life and doing the things that you've always wanted to do without the pressure of a 9-to-5. So in my head, I was just that idea, like I would just every day tell myself, you know what? This is the life that you want, and you're going to fight for it, and it's going to take work, but we'll get there. And I feel like that's how ultimately we got here. I continued to, like I said, it took convincing on her end, but I was like, no, Mom, we're figuring it out. We're going to do it. And this is how it's going to be.
That's cool. It literally gave me the chills when you said that, because it's just, you can tell you have that like unshakable belief in yourself to the point of like, no one can get in your way. And that's so like totally what it takes. And that is when people ask me for advice, I always try to get them to understand like, this is what you need. Like everything else will fall into place. But if you can get into a place and a mentality where like, you know, you're going to be successful, you have no idea how, when, why, any of that, you just know, and you've made the decision, the rest falls into place. So super cool that you are there. And curious too, because I know for me, I just was like that. It just kind of made sense. When I saw like the path of entrepreneurship, I was like, oh, okay, easy. Like, I'm just going to do that. There we go. A lot of my friends that are really successful in entrepreneurship, they didn't just have that. They had to train themselves through all the mental work that we gave in week 1. And so do you have any advice for someone to help get them into that? Like, I've made the decision, I'm going to win mindset.
Goodness. I think that I've always, you know, growing up in a household where my parents, you know, mom always tried to dabble in different, how can I not have a 9-to-5? And I think growing up in that helped me, even though I did go to college and I did get the degree. Ultimately, I was not working for somebody else. And I told myself that graduating college, Mom, load up, because like, this is the journey and this is what we're going to do. And now there are days, of course, where you're like, I need, you know, some daily affirmations here. I need something, you kind of grab at anything to help you push through the journey. But I think just being confident in yourself. And I know I journal a lot, and I speak things into existence. I tell myself I am capable. I will get it done. Tomorrow's a new day, you know, let's divide and conquer. And she does the same thing for me. You know, when she's feeling down, I pick her up. And when I'm feeling down, you know, she picks me up. But I think just growing the confidence in yourself can be hard. So starting somewhere like journaling and speaking to yourself and manifesting the things that you want for yourself and your life and your goals and all the crazy dreams that don't feel reachable, you know, start somewhere small, like journaling, and then build up to, you know, then we did the dream boards, and then it was, you know, then we build it up from there. But that's my take on it. What about you?
No, I agree totally with you.
Yeah, it's just mindset's everything. And having, you know, not doubting yourself. There's already going to be a ton of people that are going to doubt you, and you can't be one of them. you got to keep going, and you got to be your support. You can't turn, and we've learned that, to family members or to your best friend. Your best friend's not going to get it. Sometimes it's just like you're your number one fan, and you have to push yourself into that mindset for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Just, oh, are you still there? It says
Yeah.
still here. Yeah,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. That's really good advice. And I think it is a great place for people to start, just starting to, like, on a small level, to retrain your brain and eventually get to a point where you have this unshakable confidence that you both have. So that is really awesome. So what has been your favorite part of this journey so far?
There's so many, I feel like. One, for me, doing it with my mom has been awesome. And like, of course, mother-daughter duo, like, we have our days, but it's probably my favorite part. And then growing into myself and to my confidence that I've gained from this is also something I could never repay, like learning who I am in the journey, and then being able to, I was with my high school sweetheart. We just got engaged, and now he's on the team full time. So being able to like build my family in this and have, grow into it and grow it that way is just the biggest blessing ever. And that's for sure been the highlight of this journey for me. What would you say?
Oh, I agree. I agree. It's nice to own your own business. And while it's not always easy, it's so worth it.
Yeah.
And so you get to enjoy all those things that come with it too. So, highly recommend it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely a pretty nice level of freedom that comes with it, for sure.
Yeah. And the family aspect and doing it with your family is also just so fun, and something I never, looking back, if you would have told me 5 years ago that we would be here, I'd be like, no way, so it's fun to be in it with the fam for sure.
That's awesome. I love that. So the eCom Babe support, has that been helpful to you in your journey, and how has it been helpful to you? And would you recommend the support that you've been given by eCom Babes?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll say this for me, because I was really, when I got eCom Babes, I followed it, and I would get on the Q&As, and Tom was always helpful. You were always helpful, but you have to utilize the fact that you have that and get on the calls. Don't be afraid to get on there and sit in the background, ask the questions.
Yeah.
And just, be willing to do everything that eCom Babes has put into place. So yes, I thought it was awesome to have that, and I did it, and I learned a lot.
But that's the thing, like you have to do it. You have to put in the work.
Can't be shy. Just get on there, ask the questions, and you learn. I learned something all the time. Now, whether or not it always applied, maybe not, but I learned. Yeah. And I went through it, and with your help and guidance. And so,
and having a community too, I feel like is a big deal. Like, I know when I first started, I would come on the Facebook page and read everyone. What is someone facing today? Like, what are what goals were hit today? I feel like it was so
like you're not alone.
Yeah.
Everybody's you're
not alone in it. Yeah. Like being in a community like this, I feel like fuels the mindset in such a positive way that it's really irreplaceable to have a community like this, even now for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's super cool that you say that, because I always tell people, and what I really believe is the power of association is a real thing. And it doesn't have to just be through people that you're around physically. Like, it can be through books, it can be through Facebook communities, it can be through just Instagram, but who you surround yourself with is so important. And I always tell people, get your daily dose of the Facebook group. And that doesn't even mean you have to say anything, but just get in there and see other people's sales, see the excitement in the group, and just let that kind of it's almost like you're plugging in your battery, because you need to get around that kind of energy. So I think it's really cool that you touched on that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Good stuff. All right. So last question here. I always finish these interviews with this question, and it is, what advice, by the way, can you guys hear me? The signal just went a little red.
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Sweet. So what advice do you have for somebody that either wants to join eCom Babes or is a fellow eCom Babe, they're in the community and they're just kind of on the fence. Like they really want to be successful. They want to have the success that you guys have had, but they are nervous or they're doubting themselves or doubting the process, and they just need that push. What advice do you have for this person?
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you can't give up, and you have to start somewhere. And it's a journey, and every day if something, I've said it before, if something doesn't work, figure something else out. You can trial and error. You just don't give up. That's the one thing you can't do, is give up. So figure it out. Otherwise, I really feel like,
without a doubt,
it's not going to come easy, or everybody would do it and everybody would have it. What do you think?
I think for sure when we first started this, I mean, it was a journey. I was coming out of college. We made $200 to $300 a day for the first year. I think that when mom told me on a really slow day one day, she was like, if everybody did this, and if it was easy, everybody would do it, So again, coming from the mindset side of things, like, you got to give yourself that confidence. No one else is going to give it to you. It comes from you, and it comes from your goals, your dreams, your manifestation, and the magic comes when you step outside your comfort zone. So step outside that comfort zone. Sometimes you're not going to get the push from the family that you want, or the best friend, or, someone who you thought would give it to you. All that it matters is that it's coming from yourself. So, you got to start somewhere, like she said, and the victories will be worth it. It'll be worth, the trials and
anybody
the
can
slow
do
days.
it that's willing.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone is capable of it. And I tell, my good friends that are stuck in a 9-to-5, everybody is capable of making the life that they want for themselves, but at the same time, it takes work and passion and the drive and the getting up and facing it, like I said, on the slow days, but it's all worth it in the end, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, I love your guys' story. You are just such real, authentic people getting on here and just sharing this story. And it is so inspirational. I know someone's going to see this and feel incredibly moved. And you guys should definitely pat yourself on the back, because it's not every day that someone comes and has a $9,000 day or a $219,000 month. I mean, most people never earn $100,000 in a year, and yet you guys are doing this beyond every single month. So this is really impressive to have done in 2 years time, 2.5 years time. So I just am super excited to see what your guys' future looks like, because I know it's very bright if you've accomplished so much in 2 years. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And I'm excited for the woman who needed to see this. They're going to be really moved. Hopefully it's going to change someone's life. So thank you guys so much.